guys, my name is Emily. Welcome to another Top 5 Wednesday. Top 5 Wednesdays were created by Lainey from Ginger Reads Lainey and are currently hosted by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. Links to everything are downstairs in the description box. Today, I am talking about the rest of children's literature that I like. So last week, July 12th, we were supposed to talk about 5 children's literature books that we love. I have too many to list. I did more than 5 last week. This week, I'm going to talk about more than 5 again. My favorite pieces of young reader literature. So literature for 9 to 12-year-olds, middle grade, whatever you want to call it, wherever you are in the world. Let's start with a recent favorite, and that is George by Alex Gino. So George tells the story of Melissa, a trans girl, who wants more than anything to play Charlotte in her school's production of Charlotte's Web, and she feels that she is the best for this role, but her teachers will not let her audition for this role because they see her as a boy and boys cannot play Charlotte. So it is about Melissa coming out and affirming her gender identity. Alex Gino is a genderqueer human, and they are within this world and do a really good job of writing this narrative, writing this character, and also providing resources for young people reading the book in terms of terminology and understanding, and for teachers or for parents who are reading this book as a conversation starter. It is a really, really important read in terms of diversity of perspective and for empathy and for teaching people about difference, especially young people, and overall it's just an engaging read. The next book I read here, I read recently as an adult. I read it as part of a reading project to talk about banned books. The book is Bridge to Terabithia by Katherine Paterson. Now this book does appear on banned books list because this book has the word pervert, lordy, and see-through blouse in it. That is why in 2006 it was challenged by a parent for a reading list. So I read this book and I talked about imagination and the importance of this book and what you could do with this book as a teacher, and I will link that down below. But it is one of my recent favorites of sort of classic children's literature that somehow I missed out on in my childhood. So I will link that down below and I encourage you to watch it. It's one of the videos I'm fairly proud of. I did work hard on it and I was very excited about making it, so watch past Emily talk about this. The next piece of children's literature I have here is Ava Ibbotson's The Secret of Platform 13. So this tells the story of a secret doorway in King's Cross Station. That secret doorway in the train station at Platform 13 leads into a magical kingdom. It's the story of what happens when a witchy woman steals the heir to that kingdom and brings him into contemporary London. It is magical and wonderful, and I don't think Ava Ibbotson gets enough love. She writes a lot of children's fantasy. We don't really carry her books at work, in the stores, so I think if you haven't read some Ava Ibbotson, I would highly recommend it. I think a lot of young people will really enjoy her works. The next book I have here is Tales of the Fourth Grade Nothing by Judy Blume. So this is a story of Peter, who is, fairly normal, whatever, and his brother Fudge, who is just a little dick. They are so funny. I remember having this read out loud to me at story time in middle school, and we laughed. We laughed so hard. Just the quirky, endearing things that happen to Peter because of Fudge. It's just glorious. It's a fun read, it's a quick read, and if you are looking for something to sort of read out loud or read with your young person, I would highly recommend this because I think both of you will really enjoy it. The next book I have here is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Now this is a piece of children's literature, kind of a modern classic piece of children's literature about a young girl who steps through a doorway in her house and finds a mirror image world and the other mother, other father, and has to decide which world she wants to live in. The place where she is totally catered to, or the place where, she has to do chores and she has to deal with her parents parenting her, but, them also not wanting to eat her. And I think it's a really fun piece of children's literature. It's a kind of more dark, spooky piece of children's literature. Maybe something to read together around Halloween or to give to your young person around Halloween. I think it thinks through independence and identity a lot, and I think this is a really great, fun read. The next book I have here is a classic, and that is Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. Now, I hated Charlotte's Web as a child. I switched schools a lot, and every school I switched to read this as the grade I was in. So it was my grade 2 book, it was my grade 3 book, it was my grade 4 book, and it was my grade 5 book. The number of times I built a Clementine box diorama with Wilbur in it, after a while you start to hate Charlotte's Web. I was supposed to read this for a children's literature course in my second year of university, and it was the assigned reading around the time that my grandmother passed away, and I just said, nope, not reading that. It wasn't until we picked it for book club a couple of years ago, and I will leave a link to that video down below, where we read it with George Orwell's Animal Farm, that I began to appreciate all of the things that are going on in this text, and how clever a text it is, and how much you could do with this text as a teacher. My teachers missed out on a lot of opportunities, let me just tell you that. You could 100% use this text that seems somewhat dated to do a lot of really interesting things, and to start a lot of really interesting discussions. And so it has grown to be one of my favorite pieces of children's literature, and if I ever had the opportunity to teach, I would 100% teach this in a children's literature course. So Charlotte's Web, do it. Give it a chance. The next book I have here is Wonder by R.J. Palacio. So this is the story of Augie Pullman. Augie Pullman was born with a facial difference and has been homeschooled for most of his life. This is a story of him going to a conventional school and interacting with people and facing new challenges and having to grow and mature. And it is also a story that really encourages empathy. It encourages readers to think through difference and how we treat each other, how we love each other. I really, really enjoyed this. It has quickly wormed its way into my heart, and I would recommend this to everybody. I think it's a story that a lot of young people need to read, just if you are feeling awkward and different, but also if you are wanting to be a good human and learn how to interact with other humans. I think this is a really good text. Now, the last book I have here is currently considered YA in my bookstore in Indigo, but when I purchased it was considered part of the 9 to 12 marketing category, so I am going to keep it in this list, and that is Protector of the Small, First Test by Tamora Pierce. Of course, you can't get through this list without a Tamora Pierce book. Alana, also once considered 9 to 12, now bumped up to teen, is the book that got me into Tamora Pierce, but Kel is the character that has really held my heart. I did my master's thesis on her narrative. This is a story of a young girl who is living in a patriarchal society, who really wants to be a knight. She wants to protect people, she wants to go on journeys, she wants to have adventures. She doesn't want to be a lady. And so even though the king has since decreed that it's possible for any woman to try out for knighthood, nobody has done it. Kel is the first to try this. And she faces a lot of prejudice, a lot of injustice, a lot of sexism, but she perseveres. And it's a narrative with a strong female character, with a strong cast of characters behind her. It is a narrative that has a really feminist message, but I think the conclusion of this quartet is really important and really subversive, especially in fantasy literature, especially in the narrative arcs of female characters, and it's important. I think it's a really important read in terms of giving young female readers a representation of possibility, of thinking outside the box of what is possible, and of standing up for what you believe in, and I love it. And I think it's really, really fun fantasy on top of that. So let me know in the comments down below some of your favorite pieces of middle grade. What is a book that you read when you were in the 9 to 12 age category that really stands out to you, that shaped you as a human? Let's chat about those, because these texts that shape us as humans, as readers, are important. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.